G'day there, I'm Jess. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to give an update on my skincare journey. It's been 6 months since I decided to take my skincare seriously. And the reason that I decided that is because I got my third skin cancer and I kind of was a bit of a wake-up call that I need to be a bit more careful about taking care of my skin. Now, I got my first skin cancer when I was 20 and it was on my face. You can see a scar on my lip. I can never even remember where it was. I think it's here. And that was definitely a moment where I went, oh my gosh, you know. So from then on, I was always much more careful about the sun. Before that, look, I'm a Queensland girl here in Australia. I grew up in the 80s. I was very brown as a child. I spent a lot of time outside and I lived in North Queensland for a couple of years near the end of high school and didn't really take care of staying out of the sun too much. So I definitely got a lot of damage as a child and a young person, but from about my 20s, I started to be much more careful about the sun. Even so, you know, over the last few years especially, I'd gotten into ocean swimming and I was playing softball in the summer. So even putting lots of sunscreen on, I was getting visible darkening of my skin and visible pigmentation of my skin. And then getting more skin cancers, thankfully so far, not on my face, but on other parts of my body. I realized, you know, I really need to take this more seriously. So that is why I decided to start looking into what I could do to improve my skin and the health of my skin. And that is my main goal. So my goal with this process is to prevent further UV aging and damage, to reverse the signs of the damage I've already done, and to improve and boost the health of my skin to hopefully, you know, speed up cell turnover and any of those kind of mutated cells, maybe get rid of them before they actually turn into cancer. So that was my goal. I'll put up some photos now showing you my progress so far, and it's been 6 months of consistent effort. I'm quite happy with the progress so far. You can see the pigmentation has decreased. Maybe there's a bit of an improvement in some of my fine lines as well, although that's not my main concern. My skin is much smoother and it feels healthier and I guess more robust and glowy. So I'm gonna share with you my whole routine, my morning routine and my evening routine in this video to show you exactly the products and the progress that I've made. I do wanna just briefly say that I use Tretinoin now, so that's the prescription strength vitamin A, but it took me months and I was careful to take it slow with this. I used an over-the-counter retinol like once or twice a week, then I built it up, and then I switched to a retinol product, which is Avene, which I'll mention in the video. Again, took time, I only did it once or twice a week, sort of built it up, and then after about 3 months or 3 or 4 months, I started on the Tretinoin. So I took it very easy because I heard a lot of horror stories about people going too hard, too fast with retinol and like damaging their skin. And I didn't have any problems at all with it. So I think that slow and steady approach worked really, really well. And I'm now up to using Tretinoin 2 nights out of every 3, and I'll talk about that more in my routine. I'm also, after that, going to just quickly share some of the supplements that I take, including one recommended by my doctor to improve my skin health from the inside out, because that's just as important, as to give your body the right nutrients to help your skin stay healthy. My number one thing, which I don't obviously talk about too much in my routines, is sun protection. So I do mention some sunscreens that I use, but my general rule is if I'm going outside for more than like a minute, I have to have sunscreen on. I always put on a hat. I always wear sunglasses when I'm outside, unless I'm swimming or whatever, of course, in which case it's just heavy duty sunscreen. When I'm driving in my car, especially in summer, I have little driving gloves that I put on to protect my hands because they were another part of my body that was showing a lot of sun damage. Because when I swim, like I wear a rashie, so a full length rashie, but it doesn't cover my hands, so they were definitely showing a bit more damage. And another caveat with this I just want to mention is that this 6 months that I've been doing this, I have definitely not been in the sun as much as previously because the weather here, we had La Nina and we had so much rain, and swimming in the ocean was just not happening very often because the water was dirty and gross. So I was definitely not in the sun as much as well as I had been previously. So that's probably had some effect as well in this process. But I definitely think that the routine that I've been using has had a big impact, and you can see that in the changes in my skin, and I can feel the difference. My skin feels completely different to how it did before as well. It feels so much smoother and just really, really nice compared to the rough sort of texture that it was developing. So let's get into my morning and evening routines, and you can check that out. Well, good morning. So I have had my morning shower and washed my face in the shower. Now in the mornings, I just use water because it's not like I've gotten dirty overnight. So, and I don't want to over cleanse my skin because that can dry it out. So I just get in the shower and wash off just with water, just to remove the product I had on overnight. And now it's time for my morning routine. Now I'm going to give it a few options here because it's a little bit different depending on the circumstances. It's currently in the middle of winter here. Not that you would really know it by looking outside. Welcome to Queensland. So because it's winter, I do add a moisturizer to my morning routine, which I generally don't do in summer. So let's get started. The first thing I do is my vitamin C. I use this one from Timeless, which is a dupe for the very expensive SkinCeuticals one. I'm not paying that much money. This one I found really good for me so far. I'm really enjoying it. I've rebought it already. This one's almost empty, so it's going to take me a lot of pumping. But I'm getting every last square out of this. And then that just goes on everywhere. And again, back in the hands, for any excess, back of the neck. Okay. I do kind of wipe it over my eyes. I haven't had any problems with that. I know it's irritating for some people and that might not work for them, but yeah, keep it away from your eyes unless you know you're not sensitive, basically. So step 2, again in winter, I probably wouldn't worry so much about this in summer, is some hyaluronic acid. This is the Ordinaries hyaluronic acid 2% plus B5. And as I mentioned, I can't remember, I've recorded my nighttime routines, but I'm probably going to put this one first in the video. So as I'm going to mention, I used to put this all over my face, but it's very thick and kind of goopy, and I didn't like how it felt. So now I literally just use this as a spot treatment in my dry areas. So my thinner skin, which is like under my eyes and just here around my top of my cheeks, and then a little bit in the middle of my forehead, and that's it. I don't put it anywhere else. If I had any dry patches, I would put it on those as well to help hydrate those patches. So that's step 2. Step 3 in winter, I don't do this in summer because I don't need moisturizer in the morning in summer because I will sweat all day, is this CeraVe moisturizer. Now at night time I use the big tub of this stuff, but I like this one in the morning because it actually includes the niacinamide and hyaluronic acid in here. So it's not just, that one doesn't have the niacinamide in it, whereas this one does. So that's why I can use that one around my eyes, but I can't use this one around my eyes. But I use this one on my face, and it's quite light and it just sinks in. So I don't put this too close to my eyes because of the niacinamide in it. And this is just to keep my skin hydrated in winter. Do I put this under sunscreen? Yes, I do, because it is a very lightweight moisturizer. That being said, again, back in the hands. Today I am working and I will be inside the whole day. I may pop downstairs to the jewelry studio. However, I have a hat by the door and I literally get maybe 10 seconds of sun going down there and back. So if it's winter, so the UV gets to like 4 in the middle of winter, which is still, in the middle of the day, you still need to protect against it. But because I'm not going outside, I'm not putting sunscreen on my face at the moment. Because one reason for me is I wear glasses, and having sunscreen makes it annoying because my glasses slide down my face. So during winter, especially if I'm not going outside, I'm not getting too close or sitting too close to any windows with direct sunlight, which I'm not. We have this on this side of the house, we don't have a veranda cover, but on that side of the house, which is where my office and all the living spaces are, we have a big veranda which covers all the windows. So there's a great video by Lab Muffin Beauty, and I will put it below, where she finally explains whether you need to wear sunscreen inside or not by talking about sky view and how close you are to windows and stuff. It's fantastic. Finally, it answered my question about when I do and do not need to wear sunscreen inside. So I will not be wearing it. However, that's also because I do a workout in the afternoon, again inside, and I just have to wash it off my face before my workout because I get gross. And then after my workout, I go for a walk, but I do it like the hour before sunset. And when I do that in winter, I do put sunscreen on for that, just on my face. I don't put it on the rest of my body. I mean, it's covered in winter anyway. So I use this one for that, which is the Olay 30. It's an SPF 30 broad spectrum. Because it's more lightweight and it's like a moisturizer as well as a sunscreen, that's when I will use that. I'll pretty much never use this in summer because it's not strong enough. Now, if I am going outside, if I'm not swimming, I use this at the moment. And I'm also, these are the two that I'm experimenting with. So this is the ultraviolet lean screen. A friend of mine, I tried some that she had and I really liked it. Again, probably only for winter here, because in summer I will just sweat this off because it's just a surface sunscreen. So I'm going to be using this a little bit in winter. I'll probably also consider using that. I just got this one, so for my afternoon walks, because it's a mineral sunscreen, whereas this is my like holy grail sunscreen that I've discovered for people who get sweaty or wear glasses or are in a hot climate. It's the most matte sunscreen by far that I've ever had. So it's the Anthelios XL Anti-Shine by La Roche-Posay, and it's fantastic. So this is my go-to face sunscreen during the day if I'm going to be outside in winter or summer, and I'm not going to be getting in the water. This is what I use because it doesn't say anywhere that it is water resistant. So I don't trust this one in the water, but it's fabulous. I love it. It's not cheap, but it's not super expensive either. Now I only use that literally on my face. For the rest of me, I use other things because it's more expensive. I use the cheaper stuff where it doesn't matter so much on my neck if it's a bit more greasy. One that I've just discovered is this one, Bondi Sands Hydra SPF 50 plus. You can just get it at the supermarket here, Coles, Woolies. I can't remember which one I got it at, but it's like, I think it's pretty affordable, and it's really nice. It comes out like it's a bit puffy, like a bit cloud-like. But it goes on really nicely and it feels really nice and it's not overly greasy, even though it's like hydrating. I don't quite know. But anyway, it's also reef friendly and it's water resistant. So I would wear this one if I'm going swimming or if I'm going to sweat a lot. And my second option for that is this one, the Cancer Council here in Australia. The face and body, this is tested for 4 hours water resistance. So in the middle of summer, this is the one I generally put on my face. It's an SPF 50 plus UVA UVB broad spectrum, and it's really, this is almost empty. This is really, really good. They also have the same, hang on, let me show you. They also have this one, Face Day Wear Matte. And again, this is another option that I recommend that you can wear during the day if you're not going swimming. It doesn't say, sorry, I'm squinting, I don't have my glasses on. So it doesn't say anything about water resistance. So I wouldn't wear this in the water, but if you're just going out during the day, this was the one I always wore before I discovered this one. So it's good, but it's not as good as this for anti-shine and anti-greasiness. And of course, where would we be without lip cover? Especially when you have big lips like I do, you cannot neglect them. So this morning, what I'm going to do is a lip mask because it's first thing in the morning. I used to use this at night time, but I do mouth taping now. I'll do a video on that. It's not insane, I promise. I just found this like when I was buying something and it looked nice. It's Clavu Nourishing Care Lip Sleeping Pack. So because I can't wear this at night now, I will sometimes put it on during the day. And the first thing in the morning is nice because my lips haven't had anything on them overnight and they're a bit dry, especially in winter. So I'm just going to do that. And it doesn't really matter how it looks because I'm not going anywhere. So it's just smear it everywhere. Okay, so that's really nice. Now for my lips, if I'm going outside, my favorites are these. My favorite sun protection. This Blistex one is really nice. It's an SPF 30+. Again, I would wear this if I've got a hat on and I'm not going to be out in the middle of the day because it's only 30+, but it goes on nicely and it's not too thick and sunscreeny. You know, when you have really sunscreeny lip balm and you kind of eat it and it's gross. However, this is currently, again, La Roche-Posay. I just got this on a whim to try. It's Anthelios 50+ stick, and I put this on my lips when I really need good sun protection, and it's really, really nice. It's again, it doesn't leave that really thick sunscreeny horrible feeling on your lips, but it's really long lasting and well protecting. Sorry, I should have shown you this one as well. That one just looks a little bit, you know, like a traditional lip balm. So those are my go-tos. I've also used many other ones, but they're my favorites at the moment. And then if I'm just around the house for the rest of the day, I have Hydra lip balm in pretty much every flavor because this is the most amazing lip balm I've ever discovered in my lifetime. It never goes off. It's always creamy and beautiful. These ones, the cherry, black cherry, and I think there's a blackberry one as well, are slightly tinted, which is nice because I don't wear lipstick, but sometimes you just want a little bit extra color, and that just adds a little bit extra color. It looks really natural. I always feel like a clown when I have lipstick on because I have such big lips. So I'm like, no. So this is really, really nice. Yeah, so that is everything I might use of a morning in my skincare routine. Hi Nick, bye Nick. Okay, so this is my off retinol night. So I have been doing one night of retinol or tretinoin, one night off. I'm moving up to doing 2 nights of tretinoin and 1 night off. I find that is just easier than like thinking nights of the week, because then I just keep in a routine. It's like 2 nights, 1 night, 2 nights, 1 night, and so on. So before I start, obviously, I cleanse my face in the shower. Now I've got a couple of cleansers that I use. Traditionally, I will use this one, which is Neutrogena Hydra Boost every night. I also have a few alternatives. So if I've been wearing really heavy sunscreen or any makeup for whatever reason, I really like this All Clean Balm by Hamish. This one's almost empty. I do have another one, so I bought 2 because I thought I would like it. Cassandra Bankston actually talked about this in one of her videos, and it sounded amazing, and it is amazing. So this is like a kind of oil cleanse, I guess, to get oily stuff off your face, and it's beautiful and I love it. So I'll use that first if I have a particularly oily layer, and then I will use this one. However, if it's an acid night, I will sometimes do this one, which is a Salicylic Acid cleanser by Cosrx, COSRX. You have to be careful with this. It says daily, but I did it daily for about a week once, and my neck got all red and irritated because it's not only salicylic acid but a whole bunch of other acids and stuff in here, so it's pretty potent. So I tend to only do this a few times a week, and again, I will tend to do it on a night where I'm going to do an acid, so it's kind of a BHA AHA double whammy on that night. I do actually have some Ordinary Salicylic Acid, and for a little while I was using this on my whole face as a salicylic acid cleanse, but I find it, because it's oil based, just going to bed with this on was gross. Like, my face felt oily, so I tend to only use this as a spot treatment now. So if I have a little spot coming up, I will put this on it like once or twice a day to help it clear up, and that seems to work really, really well. But I don't smother it all over my face anymore. I use this one if I want a whole face salicylic acid thing going on. Okay, so once I'm cleansed, I'm done. Then currently the things I'm working through every night, I start with this Matrixyl Synth 6 serum from Timeless is the one I'm using at the moment. It's really nice. I really like this. I use the buffet buffer solution from the Ordinary. I actually have more of that, but I was trying this. I also have one of the Ordinaries Matrixyl serums, which I'm going to try after this one runs out, which is pretty soon, because I'm kind of trying to work my way through a couple of similar products and just see which one I like the best. But yeah, at the moment I'm using this one and I really like it. So this one is just in a dropper, so I'll get a few drops of that and put it all over my face and neck. It's winter, so I only do this bit that's exposed because it's cold, but in summer I do everything. Now the reason I like this is because it's a collagen boosting peptide, and I can put it all over my face, including my eyes, because it's safe for that area, whereas retinols and stuff you have to keep out of your eyes, especially for me because I have dry eyes. I don't want to get retinol, tretinoin or niacinamide near my eyes, too close to my eyes, because they can reduce oil production, so you don't want the oil glands in your eyes when you have dry eyes to get even worse. So therefore, my next step before I do my niacinamide is to put on my moisturizer goggles, as I've heard people call it. So my moisturizer is just this CeraVe, cheap, cheerful, amazing, doesn't leave your skin feeling greasy and over moisturized, which I find a lot of things do, especially in summer. Okay, so I put this on literally just around my eyes and on my eyelids. So it's a tiny amount. The idea behind this is to protect these areas so that when I go to do my next steps, whether it's just niacinamide or on the nights I have tretinoin on, it basically should act as a barrier to stop the other things from, because when you put stuff on your skin it moves, it doesn't stay in the same place, so this acts as a bit of a barrier to stop those things crawling up into my eye glands, my oil glands in my eyes. So now that I've done that, I have my Ordinary niacinamide, 10% plus zinc 1%. This goes on next. So the first thing was the collagen boosting peptide. This is to reduce redness. It again downregulates oil production for oily skin, and apparently it also can help with fading dark spots and things like that. So that goes on everywhere. You can see I kind of went around my eyes, I didn't put it into my eyes. I really like this one. I wasn't convinced at first because I was making the mistake of putting this on with the Ordinaries hyaluronic acid at the same time, and I find the Ordinaries hyaluronic acid I only use as a spot treatment now because I find it too greasy if I put it all over my face, so I only use it like kind of under my eyes and these dry areas in the mornings sometimes if it's particularly dry, but I don't slather it all over me because a lot of this stuff has hyaluronic acid in it anyway. Like I'm pretty sure this has hyaluronic acid in it, and the moisturizer has hyaluronic acid in it, so I don't really need to add it on top of all of that as well in the evening. Okay, so now it's time for some acid. So I've got two that I alternate between, both the Ordinary again. I like my cheap, cheerful and effective skincare. So this is the lactic acid. This is the 10% plus HA, so more hyaluronic acid in this one. And then the glycolic acid, 7%, called a toning solution. I don't know why, because it's not a toner, it's an acid. And you do not want to use this every day. Well, I mean, maybe if you've really built up a tolerance, but it's pretty hardcore. So tonight this is really liquidy, as you can see, but there's tons of it. It's literally going to take me years to get through this, whatever. This one is a little bit less, you can see. Again, it's got a dropper. I find that one really quite difficult to put on because it's really liquidy, so you pour it in your hand, it kind of goes everywhere, but then you just deal. So this is just a nice dropper. So tonight, a couple of drops on my hand. And again, I want to avoid going too close to my eyes while still getting, as close as I can without it being too bad. Just going to put a little bit more on my neck. I've definitely worked out that less is more. I used to put way too much of everything on, so I kind of dialed back the quantities and it seems to be more effective. and obviously saves you more money because you're not putting so much on and you're not going through it quite so fast. Okay, so that goes on and stays on overnight, which is great, super easy. And then finally, the rest of my moisturizer. Actually, my friend, I have to give a shout out to my friend Shaz, who recommended this one. I would never have bought it because it says for dry to very dry skin, and I've always thought of myself as having more oily or combination skin, but it's amazing. Like, I can't even explain it. I tried so many moisturizers and they just seem to leave that kind of sheen on my skin, which I really hate when I'm going to bed because I don't want to smear crap all over my pillow. I have a silk pillowcase and I don't like feeling like I'm sticking to my pillowcase at night, especially in summer when it's hot and sweaty. But this stuff, I don't know, it just seems to sink in and disappear almost, and by the time I actually go to sleep, it's fantastic. So big fan of this moisturizer. Hello Alice, my cat's just come in to say hello. And then finish off with my moisturizer. Again, most of these things, you can't see me doing it out of screen, but I'm actually rubbing everything on my hands as well, the backs of my hands. Kind of whatever's left over on my palms gets on the backs of my hands. So I get the skincare on there as well. And that's it. That is my acid night. Cheap and cheerful. And done. Ready for bed. Okay, so it's the second and third nights of my routine, my retinol nights or tretinoin nights. I've already done the rest of my routine. I've got my moisturizer goggles on. I've done my collagen peptide and I've done my niacinamide. So now it's time for tretinoin. So this is my prescription one. And this is what I use on my face. And on my neck, I kind of use this maybe every second or third time because the skin is on my neck specifically is more sensitive. I think that's pretty common. So for my neck at the moment, on the nights where I don't put tretinoin on, I use this Avene Retinol. So this is like one step back from tretinoin, but not quite as far back as just over-the-counter retinol. I think this is like one of 2 products I've ever seen that have the retinol step in them. So this is what I was using in my journey to get up to the tretinoin. So I'm still just using this for my neck. But tonight I'm just going to use the tretinoin everything. So I just get about that much. So the size of a pea, I've heard heaps of people say before. And then just kind of dot it around. And then spread it out. Now my skin seems pretty okay at this point. I've not really had any serious issues with tretinoin. It hasn't caused me any particular pain or redness or anything like that, so I put it everywhere. Of course, I'm careful around my eyes. I kind of go around the eyebrow and then under the orbital rim, but I don't get any closer than that. And just around there. And that's enough just to cover my face. And then I get another same size sort of amount to do my neck area. And kind of the same thing where I just kind of spread it around a little bit and then make sure to get up to the hairline and up across my jawline again, so I'm not missing any bits. And again, I will rub the excess on the back of my hands to work on that thin skin on the back of the hands as well. And that's it really, simple as that. And then after that I will put on my moisturizer and I'll be done. Now tonight you can see I've got a little blemish here coming up. So I'll probably grab my Salicylic Acid that I talked about in my previous night. And I just get a tiny amount of that. I like not even a whole drop on my finger. I kind of shake off the excess into the sink. And then I just put a tiny bit on there and see if there's any other little spots coming up at all. And then I let that dry for just a few minutes before I put my moisturizer on, just so I'm not smearing it everywhere. And that's about it, really. Okay, so here are some of the things that I take internally to help my skin be healthy. The main one is vitamin B3 Nicotinamide. So this is the same thing that, it's basically the same thing as niacinamide that you put on your skin, but it's the internal pill form. My doctor actually told me to take this because there have been some studies recently in the last few years that have shown that if you take 1,000 milligrams of nicotinamide or vitamin B3 every day, it can reduce your risk of skin cancer by 25%. So as far as I'm concerned, that's pretty worth it. So that's why I take my vitamin B3, most important thing. Then I also take some vitamin D because I don't get a lot of sun because I'm covering my skin up a lot, especially during winter, which it is right now. So I want to make sure I'm getting enough vitamin D because vitamin D is an important hormone in your body and it does a lot of things. So if you are avoiding the sun, then making sure to get enough vitamin D is really, really important. So I'm taking one of those a day, which is 1,000, 1,000? 1, 2, 3. Yes, UI. All right, so is it UI? IU. Yeah, so equivalent of 25 micrograms. So the next thing I take for skin health and other things, of course, is fish oil. So your omega-3s. So I take my fish oil for that every day as well. This is a really nice one. I'm literally just, I don't care what brand I use. I just find one that has good proof behind it and good scientific research behind it. And here in Australia, things are pretty regulated, so I'm not too concerned about that. So yeah, I take my fish oil. So those are the main things that I take that are related to skincare per se. Also collagen. So this is Protein Supplies Australia. I use all of my protein supplements are theirs. So I use their chocolate, protein, whey protein, and this is their salted caramel collagen. So collagen obviously is the building blocks underneath in the skin. So I take some of this in my protein shake every day as well. And that has been really great. Their stuff's really, really good, by the way, if you are in Australia. I find a lot of protein powders either don't mix well or are way too sweet, but theirs is like really nice. It mixes really nicely and it actually is sweet, but not overpoweringly sweet. So I highly recommend Protein Supplies Australia, great brand. A few other things, just because I'm here, I take a multivitamin occasionally, just to boost stuff, not very often. I have had anemia in the past, so I take an iron supplement. Again, sometimes just once a week or so to keep my levels up. And sometimes I'll add something like, say, berry powder to my shakes, just to add a few more extra vitamins and nutrients as well. I don't like to take vitamins that are doing me no good. You know, there's no point in wasting money on stuff that's you don't need. So I'm pretty careful not to overdo it on stuff that I don't actually need because I'm getting it in my diet. But these, especially the omegas, for not only for skin health but for brain health, which is really important to me, and mental health. Omega-3s, I have a lot of research behind them for that. Vitamin D, again, for lots of different processes in the body. And of course, the most important one for the skin is the vitamin B3. If you do anything to improve the health of your skin and reduce your risk of skin cancer, then I would definitely say to do this. Again, I am not a medical professional. I'm not even a nutrition or health professional. I'm just somebody who has done her own research to try to improve a certain thing about my own body. And like I said, my doctor did tell me about this. It's not something I figured out for myself, although I went and looked into it afterwards. So yeah, that is what I do internally to improve the health of my skin. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful and educational. My goal with sharing this journey is simply to help other people if this is something that you're concerned about, that you want to reverse those signs of of aging and damage especially, and prevent hopefully skin cancer from appearing. You know, there's plenty of members of my family who have suffered a lot with skin cancer. Thankfully no melanoma, but BCCs and SCCs, and my dad's got heaps cut out of his face, and you know, he obviously grew up before sunscreen wearing was a thing at all, with our soft European skin that we have in this harsh climate. So if it did help you, please let me know in the comments below. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I've tried to link all the products I talked about in the description, so you can go check those out. And I've also shared links to a couple of my favorite skincare YouTubers who've helped me to learn a lot about the science behind the products that work, rather than just wasting money on stupid gimmicky stuff that actually might smell nice and look nice, but doesn't actually have a real impact. And that's all I'm interested in, is stuff that has a genuine, real impact on my skin that will make it healthier in the long term. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up, and make sure to subscribe if you're interested in health and happiness. And I talk a lot about handmade business. That's my livelihood on this channel, so you'll see a lot of videos about that as well. But I'm trying to do more content on the health and happiness side, because I do a lot of personal experimentation, and I'm really keen on living, as my friend Amanda would say, my best life. And taking care of myself and being healthy and happy. So I plan on doing a lot of content along those lines as well, moving into the future. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.